Audience is all yours.
Thank you, Lee. And I'd like to pick up where Fatima just left off, actually. And really, it's going to be very important that people vote in these elections. And I would like you to consider which 6 candidates that you've heard from today would provide the most balanced and successful team to represent the UK EPI Council. As has already been mentioned by many people, the EPI has a significant influence on the day-to-day work for an EPA, and the decisions are typically made at council level. We've heard some examples, but just this is my experience. Some examples include the reform of the e-EQE, which was really driven by the EPI. Once we qualify, EPI influences the code of conduct and the disciplinary process. And you may remember back in November 2024, EPI was quick off the mark by issuing some guidelines on the use of generative AI in our work. Others have touched on the letters, the opinions, the amicus briefs that the EPI files both at the EPA and also importantly at the UPC. And one highlight for me is that the EPI president wrote a letter on behalf of UK professionals to support us being able to use our rights that we'd acquired in the UK to join the UPC as representatives, even though, of course, we'd had Brexit. But the less said about that, the better. So I think we really need a team that has good knowledge of all of the issues that the EPI is having influence over, or has the contacts to find out what the UK position is on these things. And this has not really been alluded to. We are the second largest group of EPAs here in the UK, but we have just 6 votes out of 137, 139 or so at EPI Council. So this successful team needs to be able to make its voice heard in amongst all that noise. So why me? I fell into EPI Council accidentally. I got elected as chair of the Professional Education Committee. So just emphasising the point that you don't need to be on council to get involved in EPI work. As chair of the PEC, I was at the heart of the e-EQE reform and also really helped lead that charge to not increase the bar to masters from bachelors. Although please note that that is not finally settled, so we still need to keep on at that point. It was a Herculean effort of lots of people to bring all the different opinions in Europe together to find agreement on both of those points. More generally, as PEC chair, I've been able to develop relationships with most member states. PEC is one of those committees, has a representative from each member state, including the tiny countries. And these smaller countries often have the same representatives at EPI Council. Through my role as chair, I've been able to form a really strong relationship with Presidium, which is the body that sets the agenda for EPI Council. And also, I've established some really good relationships with some key EPO personnel. And finally, a little bit about me. I've always been in private practice since last century, as some of you know, I like to joke. I've, like Goldilocks, tried 3 different sizes of firm. I started in a very small provincial firm, which was a great opportunity to experience all sorts of things. I moved to Marks and Clark and as a partner set up and ran the training academy. And also while I was there, just for good measure, because I like building things, I built the patent examination board. And then moved on to Appleyard Lees to build their Cambridge office. So mummy bear size seems to suit me best. All through this time, I've been practicing as a software attorney. And my strange module that I did in my master's on neural networks seems to be coming to really good use now. And I was actually quite surprised that we got all the way to Nina before we mentioned AI. And I think I do have a unique understanding, well, not unique, but obviously there's not so many of us in the profession that really understand AI from the models upwards. So in summary, my strengths are the AI knowledge I've mentioned, a passion for training both before and after qualification, and a real understanding of how to navigate EPI Council to get the results that we want from the UK. Can't underestimate how important it was to really work with all the groups to get what we wanted on the e-EQE reform and the masters point.
Thank you so much for that, Julia, and for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.